Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh and welcome back. So, I'm your host, Amjad Muhammad. I'm with you for another 20 minutes or so. Questions and answers, 01274 214299, 01274 214299. Email is qa@iqra.tv. That's QANDA at iqra.tv. We had a question before the break. In fact, the question or the call came in very early. I just finished the khutbah and introduced myself, and the phone rang. Sister who posed an interesting question, and I spent the complete first session in answering that question. And I hope it's to the satisfaction of the sister who phoned in, and it's left enough thought for others to also comprehend and act accordingly. If you do have any more questions, please do call in. In the meantime, I'm just going to jump across to the group to see what questions we have on here. Let's go to the ladies group because we've not answered any questions on here for a while. Where are we? Right, okay. Ooh, we have to go back a bit. There we are. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hope you are well and are in the best of state of health and iman. By the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a sister I know sent me this question. Can you please help? A friend of mine asked the question that if being with one's family harms one's iman in the way that it pushes them away from ibadah because of the mental anguish, is going non-contact allowed? I was confused because of all the hadith about parents and being there for your relatives. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Generally speaking, yes, we have to fulfill the rights and obligations that we have upon us, and one of them is our parents. Birrul walidain. You're quite right. It's mentioned in ayats of the Quran. It's mentioned in a hadith. Be good to your parents. Tend to your parents' needs. And then by extension also the wil qurba, those who are close to you, relatives, kith and kin. However, that is a general term. There are exceptions. Now, if a person feels a family member is causing this person great harm, mental anguish, mental pain, is literally breaking this person down, potentially this person has abused them mentally, maybe physically, maybe caused them harm, then in that case, that person can keep a arm's reach distance, as I call it, where you are still maintaining the blood tie, but in the Urdu it says salam dua, but you are ensuring that you have your shield up so that you cannot be harmed. Okay, that's the best way I can describe it. So that's the way you would best be able to do it, in that you're still maintaining the rights that your family has over you, but you're doing it in such a way that you are not allowing them to cause you any harm, so you are protecting yourself. We have a caller who's calling. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, dear caller.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam. Nice and early today, Abdullah. Normally you're about 5 minutes before we finish, 6 minutes before we finish, but you came in right on our second session. How are you, young man?
I'm good, alhamdulillah.
Very good. Nice to hear from you. Bismillah. How can I help you today?
Today my question is, if you like say, "Oh, I'm hungry" during your fast, does that make your fast makruh?
Oh, I'm what? Sorry, say again.
If you say, "Oh, I'm hungry" during your fast, does that make your fast makruh?
Oh, I see. No problem. Thank you very much for that question, young man.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay, so the questioning, let me just get to this one. And I've answered that one. So that's that done. Here we go. Let me get this one and then we'll go to our young Abdullah's question. Assalamu alaikum Mufti. In the context of living in a joint family where the brother-in-law is also present, is it permissible for a woman to sit in the gathering of members of the house, including the brother-in-law, while covering her face? Would it be correct to reject a proposal in which the family is okay with a woman doing parda from ghair mahrams, including brother-in-law, but wants her to sit in his gatherings? Okay, well, we'll answer that shortly after the call. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, dear caller.
Yeah, wa alaikum salam, brother. Okay, so my question is, I work on the construction site, yeah, and my question was, one of my managers, when he pays the workers, he pays the workers, for example, each get like wages, all do day rates and stuff like that. And when he pays the workers, sometimes he deducts money from the other workers to pay like me or like another worker, for example. So before he gives the money, he deducts. Like he takes some money sometimes, like £20 or £30 or whatever, so he can pay the other workers. Because sometimes he might not have enough and stuff like that. And sometimes he pays me even more than I'm due. Like he just gives it for me, because he respects me and stuff like that. So I wanted to ask, is this money permissible for me to keep?
Okay, Jazakallah khair, young man, for that question. Appreciate it.
Thank you. No.
Assalamu alaikum. So the question the young man has posed is, he works at a building site, he works in construction, and he gets paid on as a labourer most likely, or on a daily rate, and his boss or whoever's in charge will give him a certain amount of money, and sometimes his boss is short, so he'll take the money from others and give it to him, and sometimes the boss, for whatever reason, gives him more than he's due, and again, most likely he's taking it from the other people. Is this what he's receiving halal for him? Yes, what you're receiving is halal for you, because your arrangement is with your boss pays you. Where he gets his money from, that's his issue. So if he's taking money from others, that's his problem. He shouldn't be doing that. He should be paying them fully. But with regards to you, you are getting paid your wage, which is what you are due. Similarly, if he gives extra, then that's hadiyah on his part, which again is permissible for you to receive. If you are aware of what he's doing and he has this respect for you, what I would suggest is that you raise it with him. And you say to him that, look, however way you address him, boss, gaffer, you pay me always on the dot, and I know that you take it from the other guy's wages. Similarly, you sometimes give me more, and I'm appreciative of both of that you pay me fully and you also sometimes give me more. I really appreciate that. But I know that you're taking it from other people's wages, and then those people, what are you doing about them? If he says, don't worry, I pay them then within another day or two, and fine, and the other workers are happy with that, then it's all good. If he says, well, I don't really care too much about them, if they leave, it's their problem, I don't really care, then you should instruct him, say, brother, you have some respect for me, don't you? And he'll say, yeah, of course, I have a lot of respect for you. So say, okay, then, if you do have respect for me, then please also pay those brothers. You know, they are working as hard as I am, they've got families, they've got bills, and they'll need to pay them. So please, can you make sure that you're paying them? And maybe through your advice and the respect he has for you, inshallah, he'll also make that change and he will start to pay them as well. But in this scenario, your payment is halal. So let's go back to the question, okay? Let's go back to the question. So the question was, the question was young Abdullah. We'll come back to this question later. So young Abdullah asked the question that if I say, I'm hungry whilst I'm fasting, is my fast makruh? No, it wouldn't be, because that's just a matter of fact that you're hungry. If you said something negative, that, I'm fasting and because of that I'm hungry, and you're saying it in some kind of belittling, not happy, in a state of not anger but dissatisfaction, then it's impermissible. Then it becomes makruh, because in a way you're complaining about an ibadah. So when you complain about an ibadah, like saying, why do we have to get up for Fajr, something like that, or or do we have to keep a beard, whatever, something which you're showing dissatisfaction, or you're complaining about an act of worship, then that's problematic. That is seriously problematic. Okay, so serious that it can affect your iman. But when it's a matter of fact, like, I'm thirsty, which you would be when you're fasting, or I'm hungry, just saying it, then there's nothing wrong in that. Obviously, you're a young person, so as you get older, you'll just get used to those sorts of things, and you'll get to manage yourself better. We just get used to it. No, it's just part of life. But even then, if someone was to say, I'm hungry today, I'm going to order a big munch, as the young people say, for iftar, then that's just a statement you're making. Like you would make a statement if you hadn't eaten all day and you weren't fasting. You'd say, I'm hungry today. So that's not a problem. If there's any element of dissatisfaction, if there's any element of not happy, if there's any element of complaining, then it's problematic. So as long as we avoid that, then we have nothing to worry about. Okay, Assalamu alaikum, Mufti Sahab. in the context of living in a joint family, oh, so I read the question out, but I'll read it out again, where the brother-in-law is also present, is it permissible for a woman to sit in the gathering of members of the house while covering her face? Would it be correct to reject a proposal in which the family is okay with a woman doing parda for ghair mahrams, including brother, but wants her to sit in his gatherings? Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sister, it's completely your choice. It's completely your choice as to what you see is satisfactory. Okay, if you're whatever you are content with. If you are not content with it, then you can reject a proposal. If you are content with it, then you can accept the proposal. So therefore, that's really your decision. Islamically speaking, if you're sharing a house, then it's very difficult to avoid any males in the house. It's near impossible. Unless you have a separate flat, there's communal areas. For example, the kitchen, the dining room, the front room, or whatever else you call it, the garden, getting into the car, going to family, relatives. There's always, bathroom, toilet, the passages, the corridors, stairs. There's always going to be places, because it's a shared accommodation, that you're going to run into each other. So it's near impossible to avoid. So I think if you're going to use that as a criteria, I think you're going to struggle to find a potential husband. Assalamu alaikum. I would like to know, is there anything to pray when we feel the tremor earthquake we recently felt twice in a month? Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Whenever we feel or experience anything of such nature, and it's not something that we need to take steps to protect ourselves, like there's nothing falling on us if it's an earthquake, then best is to pray 2 rakats nafal and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for protection. Good. Here we go. Assalamu alaikum, respected Mufti Sahib. A sister sold her car to her brother years ago, and her brother's money is not through any halal income. She accepted the money and still has some money left from the car sale. She is asking if she could use this money for an operation. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm not sure what you mean by her brother's money is not through any halal income. If her brother's money is completely haram, then why did she enter into a transaction with him? If her brother's money some is halal and some is haram, then she can take it on the view that the money he's going to give her is from the halal source, not from the haram source, and hence it will be okay. So therefore, you see, the issue is more at the beginning rather than the issue now. If there is any halal element, then inshallah she can use it for the operation. Assalamu alaikum, Sahib. Are we allowed to pray Maghrib and Isha together once the early Fajr time starts in summer? Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. If you're in the UK and you're referring to the time when Isha time does no longer come in, and then in those cases where Isha time no longer comes in, and I've written a paper on that, go to www.irtis.org.uk, and if you go to Research Fatawa, click on there and then look for the paper which is called Isha and Fajr times for Salah, or Isha and Fajr time Salah for UK Muslims, or something like that. I can't remember the name. Then you will see that I've given that position and I explain how you can adopt that position. Assalamu alaikum Mufsam. I know that women can't perform the azan outside or loud so that men can't hear, but can women read it at home so shaitan leaves the house? Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Absolutely, one can. Don't forget, adhan is like recitation of the Quran. So like a lady can recite the Quran, even if there's mahrams present, then she can also recite, make the adhan. There's no problem in that whatsoever, because she's doing it in the form of a dua. She's doing it as a means. So there's nothing wrong with that. As I said, if she can recite Quran, then she can do this as well. Assalamu alaikum. There are so many IELTs books, I don't know what that means, in the market, from a writer of another country, like Makkar's EILTs preparation books. While I want to buy them, the shopkeeper told me we were printing these books locally in Bangladesh, so you are getting this 222 BDT only. Otherwise, the original book would cost almost around 650. I think this must be Bangladeshi dakas. Now my question is, isn't it compared as book piracy? Should we buy those books? Is that permissible, or we need to buy the original one from Amazon or somewhere? Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Islam doesn't permit piracy or fraud, so I'm sure you can find your answer there. And the last question, alhamdulillah, for the group is, Assalamu alaikum, do Muslim women need to wear hijab in front of non-Muslim women or non-hijabi Muslim women? Someone was telling me about this. I'm confused. I live with some of my university mates. There are 4 of the women in my house. They are Muslim. 2 of them are non-hijabi. 1 wears hijab. 4th one is niqabi. So how should I stay in our house? Do I need to maintain a hijab there? We live in the 2nd floor. In the 1st floor, there is also a non-Muslim woman. When I visit her flat, do I need to go with hijab or niqab? Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. There is a freedom for a woman in front of another woman to not practice fully hijab. Obviously, if however she feels that you see nowadays, because non-Muslims and unfortunately some Muslims, but non-Muslims in particular, have no issue with same gender relationships. So whereas before a woman could feel safe from the unwanted eye when not in the presence of a man, now obviously because there is no issue of gender being a problem of attraction, then obviously if a woman feels that this woman could find me attractive, then she needs to take those particular steps. But there's no thing as such that a woman should practice niqab in front of another woman, whether she is a non-hijabi or whether she's a non-Muslim. She just needs to maintain that dress code depending on how she feels in front of this person or how this person will perceive her. If this person has a habit of describing her to other men, so even if she's a Muslim sister, but the Muslim sister is not very religiously orientated, so she has a habit when she meets people at the university, men, and she describes her, how she looks, her bodily features, her shape, things like that, and she feels that, okay, this will, she'll disclose this, then again she should take those steps to, preventative steps so that doesn't happen. So really it will be based on circumstances. Jazakallah khairan, but when I don't know about this, I had bought some books. Now what should I do with those books? You now have them, so keep them. And that, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, brings us to the end of today's show. Packed show in terms of questions, but also packed show in terms of dealing with my queries on my 2 channels that I have there. For me now is to say goodbye to you. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow on the last day of our questions and answers. So make sure if you've not phoned in so far, you phone in tomorrow. Till tomorrow, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.